It's the first week of district play in District 12 5A. Tonight, the opener features two teams that have faced each other many times before, the Smithson Valley Rangers and the Wagner Thunderbirds, each playing for 1-0 starts to 12 5A play, and we've got kickoff coming up next. Alongside Joe Buchagemba, I'm Brant Freeman. Glad to have you with us for a night of high school football on the Rangers Network from Ranger Stadium. And Joe, the Rangers come out of non-district play with a record of 2-1. What has impressed you about Larry Hill's team 3 games into the season?
Well, I think they've been playing really good defensively. And offensively, I think they're starting to kind of come together. They've had a couple of injuries. I think they might have some linemen back this week that they're reinserting in O-line. And they're, you know, as the season goes, you're always trying to figure out what's best. You never just stay pat. You're always changing things up a little bit. And I think offensively, those things are starting to come together. That may have shown last week against East Central a little bit. And defensively, they've just been playing pretty solid football all year long.
Meanwhile, Wagner is 1-2, but off the heels of their first win of the season. And Joe, we were talking before the game tonight. These two programs have played each other several times before, and Wagner has been a team that has given Smithson Valley some trouble, especially here in Converse.
Well, with offensively what they're doing right now, you know, I guess the last several years they've gone to the flex bone offense, if you will, similar to the wishbone. And that gives you problems because you don't see that anymore. You know, you see it out of Wagner. It's the only people that Smithson Valley will see it out of this year. But you can't wait till that week to practice against it. And that's one thing that Coach Hill and Coach Worst, for the defensive coordinator, do over there is they make sure that they visit that offense throughout the spring and throughout the 2 days and things, preparing for it.
You do see, by the way, that Smithson Valley will get the football to start tonight's game, and the Rangers coming off of a win over the Hornets last week of East Central, 45-7, closing out non-district play. Big plays on offense for the Rangers, 4 touchdowns of 30 yards or more, and for the game they averaged better than 9 yards per play.
Yeah, big. You know, if you're a head coach or an offensive guy or just a fan of football, you like to see those big plays. You know, the longer a drive goes, the more chance there is for a mistake to be made and for the drive to be stalled. So big plays are huge, and I know those are part of everybody's game plan, and defensively is to prevent those. And
Smithson Valley's defense held the Hornets to under 150 yards of offense and pitched yet another second-half shutout. We'll talk more about that coming up. The ball is on the tee. This game is about ready to get underway. Kai Jackson, the kickoff. 12 5A play underway, and the return coming from Braden Bafidis behind his own 10-yard line. Bafidis, a very good returner, slippery there as he gets across the 20-yard line, and the Rangers start at the 25. Let's talk more about Wagner. Again, coming off their first win of the year, a wild one, 42-41 in overtime over San Marcos last week. This after playing some really good competition to start the year, games against Liberty Hill and Dripping Springs.
Well, you look at those two programs that they got beat by. I mean, one of them is in the state championship game last year, and the other one's deep in the playoffs. So their schedule hasn't been easy, and 1 and 2 means nothing, and tonight's when it all really begins.
Chase Sedlick is making his 6th career start at quarterback. His record so far, 4-1. A flip to Bafidis, got strung out to the outside, and Bafidis, a yeoman's effort just to pick up 4. Saw Greg Williams from the defensive end spot chase Bafidis, and Joe probably ran about 40 yards to pick up 4.
Yeah, he ran a long way. The backside defensive end got up the field on that, and maybe that's something that they have in their defensive game plan. But he got up the field and almost made the play in the backfield.
Bafidis had a big touchdown last week against East Central, a 54-yard run late in the first half for a touchdown. Sedlick on 2nd down and 6. Here is a run. That's Lance off the left side across the 30-yard line. And the tackle on the play made by Jyrine Campbell. 3rd down for this Rangers offense. If you're Larry Hill, what are you looking for here offensively in this play?
Well, I think I would be surprised if they throw it. I think they're probably going to use those big boys up front and try to get it to Lance and see what they can do.
Speaking of the big boys up front, shuffling of the deck for Larry Hill on the offensive line. Colton Thomason has moved from right tackle to left guard. Reese Anderson is now starting at center in place of Tyler Stone, who's now at right tackle, taking Thomason's place. Quick screen. That's Kyler Clark and got tripped up. Campbell, another tackle there for Wagner, returning starter from a year ago on this defense. And Smithson Valley's first possession against this tough Thunderbird defense ends at a 3-and-out.
Yeah, that shows you what I know. I said he'd run the ball, and he popped it out there. Same as a run, getting it out there to Kyler and trying to get him out in space.
3 plays, 8 yards for the Rangers on their first possession. And here is the big-legged Clayton Amaya, averaging better than 47 yards a punt, but just 1 punt last week against East Central. His first tonight will take a favorable Ranger bounce and roll inside the 30-yard line. Now, Joe, a chance to look at this Wagner offense for the first time. You described it, triple option, slot T, wishbone, whatever the case may be. It's one that's designed to really fool opposing defenses.
Yeah, they're going to have. It makes you play very responsibility-oriented football. I mean, everybody, your defensive ends are going to have a person, the linebackers and the safeties. So we'll see how it goes. You know, some people say it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust. This is as explosive as any other offense that there is.
Player to watch would be Wagner Taylor in this offense. 4 touchdowns last week for Wagner. Jeremiah Sherry on the first carry here for the Thunderbirds. A short gain will bring up 2nd down and 9.
Your front 7 are going to have to play well tonight. That D-line's going to have to get after it, and they're going to have to take the fullback out of the game and at least take one phase of that option out.
Per game, Wagner's putting up about 230 yards on the ground. And their quarterback is Cameron Smith, their first-year starter. Our quarterback for Wagner, replacing Isaiah Johnson, their starter the last 2 years. Not many pass attempts all year for Smith, just 19. This is a pitch. And the fullback across the 35-yard line, that's Markel Ford. Good second and long play for Wagner for a first down.
Yeah, their slot did a nice job of arc blocking out. Got the safety tied up, and he couldn't work out the pitch. So they're going to have to get the mic out there and get the linebacker out over the top of it also.
11 yards for Ford on the play. Good player for Wagner a year ago, better than 600 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns. Thunderbirds' first possession of the game. 3 minutes gone by in the opening quarter. Opening game of District 12 5A play. A new district, each team dipping in classification from 6A to 5A. But these two grouped with one another again. On first down, Smith is going to keep it and takes a hit from Gavin Woods. Second team All-State linebacker a year ago. Really helps engineer the Smithson Valley defense.
Yeah, he's a returner with a lot of experience, and I think everybody kind of rallies around him. Of course, De Hoyos is another one that's got a bunch of that experience too, but Gavin's been in the fire a bunch.
Woods, the Rangers' leading tackler of the year, has also been in on a pair of big turnovers this season. And a timeout called for by head coach Jason Starrin. Second-year head coach for Wagner, took over after Charles Bruce left to become the head coach at Brandeis. What a job he did, by the way, Joe. Wagner's program was down. In fact, they were winless in Coach Bruce's first season, 0-10, and then 5 years later won 13 games.
Well, Coach Bruce is a great person. He's a great football coach, and he's a great man. I know him well, but they were pretty stagnant and weren't doing a whole lot as a program, and that's when they decided they were going to split up and go to the flex bone or wishbone offense, if you will. And that's when they kind of started to flourish. And they struggled with it for a year or two, but he stuck to his guns.
Yep.
Got an offensive coordinator that came in there that helped him, teach it and get it just like it needed to be. Brought a defensive guy in there, and they started bringing people from every which way. And he really did. He's a good job, and he did a great job with those kids over there, and they loved him for it.
13 wins in 2018, 13 more the following year, each season ending with a trip to the state semifinals. Out of the timeout, 8.5 to go in the first quarter. 2nd and 10 for Wagner, trying to win back-to-back games. After opening the season 0-2 against 2 tough opponents, Liberty Hill, Dripping Springs, quick pass out in the flat, caught by Wagner Taylor. across the 40-yard line where he is brought down by Lane Richard. Third down now for Wagner.
Yeah, there's a little cat and mouse going on right now with Wagner. They're checking the play up front. They catch Smithson Valley spinning their coverages down, so they change the play. Smithson Valley brings that outside guy, and he throws over the top of him. So they're still learning. They're all trying to figure out what each one's trying to do each other tonight.
Very stingy Ranger defense, giving up just 11 points a game this season. Third down, here's Smith, and Smithson Valley's defense all over the keeper by Smith. Gang tackled. Lead of the charge there was Nicholas Dudzikowski, and Smithson Valley will force a punt on fourth down.
Yeah, that's a good job. There's just a lot of misdirection going on in the backfield that time, and it beats me the quarterback counter to this side, and defensive guys recognize it. That linebacker saw those linemen coming back at him. He steps up in there and makes a play.
And how dangerous have these two been for Smithson Valley back deep? Kyler Clark, Braden Bafidis. Back to return this punt coming from Mercy Milandani. Here comes the rush.
The Hoyas is awful close to that.
And no chance for a return for Bafidis. Smithson Valley's offense comes out for the second time with 5 minutes gone by in the first quarter. And Joe, that first possession, 3 and out, were unable to get a first down on third and short. What is the approach to this second possession?
Well, it's all them offensive guys. Coach Hill's just like the rest of them. They've got their script going into it, so they're going to stay on that script and they're not going to come off of it. That was their first third and short call on script that they worked on this week. So they'll have to go 7, 8, 9 plays here before they get off the script, before they really find out what they want to see out of Wagner tonight.
Sedlick to the air over the middle. T.J. Hunt. Hunt to midfield. What a playmaker he has become. Smithson Valley with a first down pickup of 17 yards.
Typically, he'll throw, your offensive guys, they're going to throw several different formations at you, see how you adjust to them, and then see which ones are favorable to them. And then that's the ones that they'll settle in on and try to hurt you with.
With a season-ending injury to Freddie DuBose, Larry Hill looking for players to step up in that playmaker's role. T.J. Hunt has been that player. And here on first down, a draw for Lance. Able to bounce off the initial contact and make something out of nothing, a gain of a yard. Bring up second down and 9.
Yeah, what you really don't want is penetration right up the gut against the draw, and that's what Wagner did. They got through and kind of blew it all up before it got started.
Rangers on the road. And this is their second true road game of the year. Dating back to 2010. Out of their last 61 road games, they've won 49. Sedlick off the play fake. He's taking a shot, and a diving catch is made inside the 30-yard line, and a first down, Kyler Clark.
I thought that was fixing to be a touchdown until he turned out, because he had him 4 or 5 yards deep, and he broke it on out route. It's a good ball. It's a great ball by the quarterback.
So far, Chase Sedlick 3-3 passing. 20-yard hookup to Clark. He scored his first touchdown of the season last week. And that win over East Central, of course, Larry Hill's alma mater. Class of what, 1950?
48, I believe.
First half with the 28. Sedlick is going to hand it off. This is Bafidis off the left side. Bafidis breaks a tackle, cuts it back inside. Bafidis stretching, and he's in for the touchdown.
That little guy, I'm telling you, I've called him little guy forever. He's the little brother of several of them that have come through. He's the baby of them all, and I'm just going to say he's the toughest of them all. Sorry, Corey.
Bafidis, a 28-yard gallop into the end zone.
Little Braden.
Player that has racked up close to 300 yards all-purpose. 3+ games into the year has put the Rangers on top. Out for the point after, Clayton Amaya to cap off a 72-yard drive. An effective one for Smithson Valley on their second possession of the game. 5:15 left, opening quarter. Rangers on top of Wagner on the Rangers Network.
Fisher's Neighborhood Market is the only stop you need before and after game time. Get everything you need, plus a whole lot of things, well, you just want. Fisher's Neighborhood Market. Food, fuel, fun.
You're spending more time at home now than ever, so why take chances with your comfort? That's why you need Air Clinic. Our comfort advisors ensure your home is the perfect temperature year-round. Let us put on a comfort clinic for you. Feel Air Clinic quality today.
Rangers have struck first in this 12-5A opener with 5:15 to go in the first 7-zip on the 28-yard touchdown run by Braden Befides. And Joe, we spoke about Smithson Valley's big play offense last week. Several big plays on that last scoring drive.
Yeah, and those are big because if Wagner gets going offensively, there won't be a whole lot of possessions. So you really need to take advantage and maybe save some clock on your possessions so you get a few more.
Amaya with a kickoff. Again, a lot of leg for Amaya. He has been a weapon for Larry Hill, young part of this 2022 season. Wagner coming out offensively, and this is an offense, Joe, which predicated around the run, of course, with this option look. One that can ill afford to fall behind by too much. It's going to be tough for them to make up big deficits.
It really is. I mean, they can certainly get it all at any time. If you miss an assignment defensive, they can go to the house with it, or if you safety or corner misreads, it's a touchdown pass. So it's dangerous, but it's not as easy if you get down in this one.
Second Wagner possession of the game. Here's a pitch to the outside. That's Markel Ford. Markel Ford racing inside of midfield. Good run for Wagner all the way down to the 50 on a gain of 25.
Yeah, that's the same. The linebacker got outran on that one there. They got the corner and the safety taken care of, and the backer just couldn't get there. So that's what I'm saying. They can certainly get it all in one or two plays also.
Markel Ford just 6 touches in 2 games this season, 2 already, good for 36 yards in this game.
He's really the only thing that's had any success, so I would venture to say we're going to see some more option with the pitch coming, unless they start rolling some corners down in there, maybe change up the responsibilities. I know they've got it in their plan.
This is a handoff to the dive back. Jackson Maynard on the tackle there for Smithson Valley, along with Dud Zakowski. Short gain there for the Thunderbirds with 4:57 to go in the first quarter and a 7-0 Ranger lead. Again, this is District 12 5A play. The two teams were in 27-6A last year. Rangers finished 3rd. Wagner finished out of the playoffs in 6th. And you will see a lot of that, Joe, a lot of pre-snap movement in this offense.
Yes, that's right. And they want to see if you're tipping your hand, if you're slanting or moving your front somewhere, then they'll check it elsewhere.
Hand off, dive back up the middle off that right side near the secondary. And the tackle is made by David Ahoyas. And this was Jeremiah Sherry on the run. Manageable 3rd down for this offense now.
Yeah, I really don't know this style of offense. Once they get around the 50 or so, whether it's on their side or the other, I don't know if there is such a thing as an unmanageable 4th down for them going for it. So where they get it here now, there's no doubt what they're going to do with it, I think, and that'll be go for it.
Yeah, 2-down territory here for the Thunderbirds. Dive back again, 1st down Wagner. So 3 straight plays on this last series here, all for the dive back.
They're going to try to draw you in, and here in a minute they're going to run it back to their sideline, and they're going to pull it and pitch it. So, but you can make them give the ball if you want to squat on it and make them give it instead of pitch it. Coach Worcer's got all those little games in his back pocket also. So we'll see how it plays out.
Last carry for William Reynolds, a sophomore for Wagner. Good for a 1st down. Dive back action again. Smithson Valley at the point of attack, able to make the tackle. Dylan Goss on the stop for the Rangers. Sherry on the carry. With 3:10 to go in the first quarter, it's still 7-0.
Yeah, it's just a grind up the front right now with their offensive line and Smithson Valley's defensive line.
typically the offensive linemen are, quote, undersized in an offense like this so they can be mobile. That pass is picked off. Intercepted by DeHoyas. 7th career interception, 2nd this season, as Smithson Valley's defense has its 6th turnover of the year.
Yeah, that's unfortunate if you're a Wagner fan because, you know, that's not their forte. They're not a throwing team. It's 2nd and 10. They're throwing the ball. Well, you know, they've gotten the ball all the way down there running it. And, you know, they're having a little success running it, and I think that kind of hurt them a little bit. This could take more momentum away than it looks like.
David DeHoyas, big part of our Ranger defense, which has played exceptionally well first 3 games of the year. And now with 2:50 to go in the first quarter, Rangers the football back and leading by a touchdown. Sedelic will hand it to Doug Lance. Lance hasn't exploded for a lot of big plays, but big body, he'll wear you down, get 15, 17 carries a game, and does a good job of, again, hitting the point of attack.
Right. I can recall watching him last year. You know, he was listed last year as a defensive end, and he came in and played a lot of running back for him, and he was a big bruiser, and that's no doubt why he's there right now.
Rangers leading rusher coming into the game, but only averaging about 3.5 yards a carry. This is Sedelic himself, and the quarterback will take it up that hash mark to the 37 to bring up 3rd and short as we wind to the final 2 minutes of the first quarter. You'll see Weston Ross at the top of your screen. At receiver on 3rd down. Hunt. I get a big playmakers in the slot for Larry Hill on this play. Motion for Smithson Valley. Lance the handoff, and he'll fight for the first down. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the old NFL running back Leroy Horde. You ask him to get you 3 yards on 3rd and 3, he'll get you 4. And then you ask him to get you 4 yards on 3rd and 8, and he'll get you 3.
That's you might be right. I don't know. I won't comment on that one there, but you're probably right. He'll get you what he's going to get you.
Yep. First down from the 40-yard line. Final minute, first quarter. Sedelic to the air for Ross, and a great catch and separation. And Ross is gone. Touchdown, Smithson Valley.
That was really, I wish they'd run a replay on that. Was a phenomenal catch by him. Good ball up over the top of the corner. That was very impressive.
60-yard hookup. Chase Sedelic to Weston Ross. First touchdown this season. And yet another big play from the Rangers offense. So many last week. 2 big home runs in this first quarter. And Amaya out for the point after. And how about the night for Chase Sedelic? 4 for 4, 98 yards, and a touchdown. And with that point after, Smithson Valley 14, Wagner nothing. Final 55 seconds, first quarter on the Rangers Network.
Wait, Elle's dad sells insurance. Maybe he can help.
I wish he could, but...
My dad has his life insurance with Jeremy Fuller State Farm Insurance.
Yes, but...
My mom has her homeowner's policy with Jeremy Fuller State Farm Insurance also.
I know my uncle says he only trusts Jeremy Fuller State Farm with his auto insurance needs.
Guys, wait! We do so many great coverages, but just not cheerleader legs.
Hey, that's okay. It's all better now. Let's start from the top, but with a little change.
2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1. All for Jeremy Fuller State Farm Insurance. Stand up and holler.
Not too far of a drive for Ranger fans from the campus of Smithson Valley out here to Rutledge Stadium In Converse, so far, they're enjoying what they're seeing. 14-0 Rangers on top. Moments ago, 60-yard touchdown pass. Chase Sedlick to Weston Ross. And Joe, we made the comment during the break that was a well-contested ball. It's a really good throw by Sedlick. Even better play for Ross to get separation.
Yeah, I think Sedlick recognized that corner was going to undercut it, and he definitely played under, and Sedlick put enough over the top where basically the two looked like they reversed positions. The Smithson Valley one looked like he should have been where the defender should have been. Anyway, it was a great throw, and it was a tremendous catch, and there you go, 14-0 now.
So the Rangers turned that turnover into points. Here's a pitch to the slot back. That's Taylor. Good job of bouncing off the initial contact. Picks up about 4 yards as we wind inside of a minute to go here in the first quarter.
That's the best they defended the pitch off of the option tonight. So they're getting it figured out. You know, it's a little bit different than we're seeing on Friday nights and seeing it all week long with your JV guys giving you a look for it. They're doing the best they can, but they're not Friday night players yet.
They marked Taylor out after a gain of 2. His first carry tonight after his big game last week. Ran for $129 against San Marcos. 3 rushing touchdowns, 1 through the air. Smith pitched to Taylor again. And right there, Dud Zakowski for Smithson Valley with the tackle for loss. Something this defense has made a habit of. Plays behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they're doing a good job right now recognizing that they're getting a little more in the flow of it. And then Coach Worsley, defensively, their coordinator, they've changed the coverage up twice there. They've squatted the corner, so they went to get the safety, and he sat there and waited for the pitch man to come to him.
Final 20 seconds, first quarter. Could be the final play until we hit the second. Smith looking to throw, pressured and taken down. In on the sack, Noah Herring. First sack of the season. A 3-and-out force by the defense. And we have whistles blowing. Did Larry Hill call for timeout before time expired?
He's trying to get it. That's what he wanted.
Quarter not quite over yet.
You know, that's just not a strength of Wagner on pass protection. You know, it's play action, and they had him covered up out here pretty good and had to hold the ball too long.
There is a very slight breeze coming into Wagner here, so Larry Hill wanting any advantage he can get, make them punt into it.
There's no question.
Smithson Valley, Wagner again a part of District 12 5A. So the programs in the district now, Hayes, Canyon, Bernie Champion, Seguin, Lehman, San Antonio MacArthur. Very interesting with realignment after this past January.
Yeah, it's nobody would have guessed the district as it is. Mm-hmm. You know, nobody would put Mac in with Seguin or Hayes in. I mean, it's crazy. It's just wild how it happened. And then getting them all placed in Region 3, even to me, even makes it crazier.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. UIL does what they do, and you go play the game. So,
a couple of teams are unbeaten in the 12-5A district in non-district play. Canyon, Hayes, both 3-0. Canyon, big win last week, beating New Braunfels 35-32. Cougars quarterback Deuce Adams, over 300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns for the Cougars last week. Final play, first quarter, will be a punt from Milan Donnie. Clark Mafidis back to return. Here's the punt to Mafidis. All the return from the 48. Mafidis fumbles the football. This is picked up by Wagner. And the Thunderbirds, a big play in special teams. Fumble recovered by Cameron Smith and maybe building some momentum going into the second quarter. We've got it coming up after this at the end of 1. Rangers 14, Wagner nothing.
Fisher's Neighborhood Market is the only stop you need before and after game time. Get everything you need, plus a whole lot of things, well, you just want. Fisher's Neighborhood Market. Food, fuel, fun.
Hey, Principal Wall, how have you been?
Really good, except for this.
Well, we specialize in wart and mole removal and acne treatment and skin allergy testing and skin cancer screenings, but I've never seen anything like this before. Hey, Dr. Miller, come check this out.
What? What? Is it getting worse?
Blue coloring, raised, multiplying like crazy. Do you know what it is? I haven't got a clue.
This man has SV Rangeritis.
SV Rangeritis?
Yes, it's when you have so much school spirit, it just bursts through your pores. This may be the worst, the best I've ever seen.
How can I cure this?
Cure it, you spread it.
So coming back for the end of the first quarter, what seemed to be perhaps a momentum-changing play on a fumble by Braden Bafidis on the punt return, it has been negated because of a face mask penalty against Wagner before the ball was fumbled by Bafidis. And so with that, the Rangers not only get the ball back, but now they'll spot it at the Wagner 24-yard line.
It was a huge swing. Huge swing. Wagner's already kind of down a little bit, 14-0, and then big play. Oh no, we're going to take it away from you. So, see what happens here again, huh?
First penalty for either team, and that one killer for Wagner. They go from having the ball at midfield to back to the Rangers inside the 25. De Hoyos first carry tonight, up to the 20-yard line, and David De Hoyos has turned into a two-way player this year.
Yes, he De Hoyos can probably play anywhere you want him to. They were talking earlier on the field before the game. I was talking to a couple of coaches about some things, and I said, well, if you're short, just put him at the end. If you're short, put him at right tackle. Put him wherever you want to. He's just a really phenomenal football player, and, he's been around a long time. He's got experience, so the game obviously won't be too big for him, but yeah, they're involving him on that side of the ball also because of such a talent.
So because the penalty happened on the final play of the quarter can't end on a defensive penalty. So there was one untimed down. That was the run by De Hoyos. So we have now flipped sides of the field. Second quarter about to start. Rangers have the ball in the red zone at the Wagner 20-yard line, and again on top 14-0. Big plays for Bafidis and Weston Ross for the touchdowns. First play, second quarter coming up. In the first game of District 12 5A play, De Hoyos off that left side gets a good seal block, and De Hoyos bangs his way inside the 10. They're going to mark him out around the 11, but this might come back. A flag at the 18-yard line.
Yeah, we're talking about Lance being a big load, hauling downhill with that football in his hand. A lot of people would say that De Hoyos is really no different.
Really good all-around athlete. Of course, a great baseball player. Holding is the call. And they will get this against Smithson Valley. Against Corey Coleman. But back to De Hoyos. Great baseball player. He is committed to play at Texas Tech for a very good Division I Power 5 program, and of course a part of Chad Cale's state semifinalist team back in 2021. Chad Cale, the head baseball coach at Smithson Valley, and of course an assistant with the football program. Second down, 15 after the flag. Here's Senelick. Will flip it to Bafidis on the reverse. Bafidis weaving his way inside the 20. Got tripped up there. It's a good second down play to make third down relatively manageable.
We got 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 sitting here. Yeah.
Some subs here for Wagner's defense. See Kevon Carter check back into the game at linebacker. Aiden Scott will check out. This Wagner defense looking for a stop. They've had troubles getting stops early part of the season. And now you're going to see some press coverage against T.J. Hunt to the right of Senelik. He's looking Hunt's way. He's going deep for Hunt. Got separation. Got a touchdown. T.J. Hunt strikes again. 4th touchdown this year.
It's a good ball. You roll up in the press coverage, you better get your hands on the receiver. And I think his eyes were in the backfield when the ball was snapped, and T.J. ran right by him. It's a good job by Senelik. Those look like they're easy. Those are probably the toughest balls to throw is when the guy's there, and you know if I just can get it there, it's going to be a touchdown. Having a good night.
Last 2 passes for Chase Senelik have been touchdowns. His touchdown to interception ratio now in the year is 6-0. Point after Amaya is good. 1 minute gone by in the second quarter. It is all Smithson Valley on top of Wagner, 21-0 on the Rangers Network.
Imagine a new technology in teeth whitening that is able to get better results than ever before that is specific to your teeth whitening goals. Summerhill Dental has it, and it's called TheraSmile, a new method of teeth whitening that can change your smile dramatically after just 1 session. If you've stopped whitening your teeth due to messy trays, sensitive teeth, and a need for multiple treatments, come to Summerhill Dental and try TheraSmile today.
$18 yards, 4th touchdown catch of the season, and he has now scored in 3 straight games. Smithson Valley on top, 21-0, and that penalty against Wagner's special teams cost them a touchdown.
Yeah, special teams right there got him down there. The face mask even a little bit closer, and then Smithson Valley had to come over overcome a holding penalty to get in the end zone. So. They're playing pretty well right now. Wagner's probably down just a little bit over on their sideline.
Here's a Maya high kickoff. That's going to touch the goal line for a touchback. Chase Senelik, Rangers quarterback in this, is 6th career start, 5 for 5, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Not bad.
I don't have the quarterback rating math on me here, Joe, but I'm going to say that it's probably got to be somewhere in the 400s with the numbers like that.
I have no idea what the rating is. I just know that he's playing pretty dang good right
really
now.
well. Smithson Valley, last time they were here, this game was tight against Wagner, but they have a 3-touchdown lead now. This is Smith on the handoff to the dive back. Not much there for Sherry. Will bring up 2nd down and long. So Wagner won in overtime in that game. That was 2 years ago. Yes. The only other Wagner win of the all-time series, a game Joe and I were reminiscing about earlier tonight, that 2009 season opener.
Yeah, they had a running back in Glasgow, and I think he ended up at UTSA, and he was a really good football player. Of course, you don't win a game if you're the only good player on your team.
This quarterback, Smith, got tackled behind by Gavin Woods. If not for that stop, he's still running. 1st down, Wagner.
Yeah, and anyway, we weren't doing very good defensively. They weren't doing very good defensively, and we almost played all night long. Anyway, they ended up scoring and holding us, and it was the end of it. So,
yeah, David Glasgow, you said it, went to play for that Roadrunner program. I believe his dad was a player at Southwest Texas back in the 80s, part of that 1982 national championship team that won back-to-back national titles at the Division II level. 1st down play will net about 3 yards for Sherry on his 6th carry tonight.
They really haven't hurt him up inside. Many yards they've made have been out on the perimeter. The most recent quarterback keep or a couple of pitches early in the ball game.
Coach of that Wagner team back in 2009, Pete Gibbons. 9.5 to go in the second quarter, a 21-0 Smithson Valley lead. Pete Gibbons helped get this program up off the ground. Of course, the school opening as this handoff is strung out for a loss.
That's what you're looking for there. They pitched it on the ground, and it one hopped right back up into his hands. So if you can get him to pitch it on the ground and get your turnover deep in end zones also. Yeah, Pete opened that school up. He was a long-time Judson coach and involved with many state championships at Judson. And, again, just another fine coach, another fine person. And he's actually, I think he's down in Lavernia now coaching something. I'm not sure.
Jackson Duffy, last tackle there for Smithson Valley. This school has only been open for about 20 years or so, but they've had some good pockets of success despite playing in that massive shadow of Judson High School. 3rd and long, Smith going over the middle, has a man. That's a good ball and a first down for Wagner inside the Rangers' 40-yard line. Squeezed that through several defenders, able to hook it up for the first down.
Yeah, that was a really nice ball. He's pretty gutsy because I don't know if I'd have thrown it in there, and he dropped it right in the hole.
Andrew Alvarez on the catch, good for 27 yards. And Wagner into Ranger territory at the 38. Cameron Smith looking back to the sidelines. The play clock is winding down to 2 seconds, and here is the quarterback himself and takes a shot from David DeHoyas. Shoved him down to the 36-yard line. A punishing 2-yard run for Cameron Smith.
Yes, you won't forget that one real quick. Had an opening. I mean, it looked like he had a crease, had space to go, and DeHoyas just filled it and took him down.
DeHoyas had a great debut game this year. In the opener, that dramatic win over Reagan. 8 tackles, broke up a pass, recovered the key fumble in the fourth quarter, also blocked a field goal that game. And this run will net a few more yards, inching closer to the 30-yard line on the run by Sherry. Brings up 3rd down with 7 minutes to go until halftime.
I don't anticipate them throwing the ball, but I'm not calling plays either. I think they got 2 chances to run it right here for the first down.
Motion from Markel Ford. Again, trying to bait that Ranger defense into showing its card. Cards, plural. Can't just play with one Joe.
No.
3rd down. Here's a pitch to Ford to the outside, leaping after the tackle attempt by Ross, and they're going to mark him short of the first down. Boy, Ford went airborne there, and Joe said it, likely 4-down territory. The offense, as expected, stays in the field.
There'll be some kind of dummy, probably, or some check right here. They'll come back to the sideline, see if they can get Smithson Valley to tip their hand on where they're going. I don't know why they wouldn't do it here if they don't.
Halfway through the second quarter. 4th down and a yard.
They didn't.
Dive back action. Up behind right guard, right at the sticks. Spotted the ball. I think he's got it. And he does. First down for Wagner. And you get to this side of the field, Joe, and it's always going to be 4-down territory. How do I know this? Wagner has not attempted a field goal since 2018.
Yeah, they for some reason they've struggled to have kickers over here, and I don't know if they just don't bring them up through the ranks or whatever it is, but they're going to be going for it.
5:35 left in the second. Wagner's got a nice drive going here. A long 3rd down conversion. 4th and short there moments ago. Here's Smith, who had a good run to start the drive. Goss and Dudzakowski and Herring on the tackle for the Rangers after a gain of 4 yards.
It's a pretty good long time consuming drive for Wagner right here is what they're looking for.
Smithson Valley has 10 defenders in the box. Dive back action again. Short gain. Sherry will bring up 3rd down and medium here for Wagner, a team that has dipped down from 6A to 5A before. They were a 5A program for 2 years, 2018 and 19, before moving back up to 6A a few years ago. In those 2 seasons in district play, Wagner unblemished 16-0 record, winning by an average of 53 points a game. They were clearly the class of that district for 2 years. And here on third down, right off the left side, Sherry banging his way for a first down. And this impressive drive for Wagner continues. Not many plays that have garnered 20 yards or so, which is just a bunch of 4 here, 6 here, 7 there.
That's kind of what it's about, 4, 6, 3, 7, whatever, and then maybe a 20 or maybe the whole thing.
Trying to make it a 2-possession game. Dive back off the left side. Herring there for Smithson Valley. Woods also in on the stop as we wind to 3:40 to go until halftime.
That's good. What you would call first down defense. Hold them under 3. So now they're in 2nd 8. Puts them in a little bit more of a disadvantage. But again, in their mind, they've got 3 downs still.
Again, Cherry can be a workhorse in this offense. 54 carries on the year coming into this game. Nobody else on the team more than 36. He has 10 carries already tonight. Smith looking to throw. Dumps that, and that one deflected but caught by Cherry. Reaching for the pylon and is in for the touchdown.
Little bootleg. Drag got in behind the safety.
It's a 14-yard touchdown pass. Cameron Smith with the strike, 3rd touchdown pass of the year to Jeremiah Cherry. And Wagner, an impressive drive. Thunderbirds on the board. Melandani with a point after. And with 3:10 to go in the first half, it's Smithson Valley 21, Wagner 7 in the 12 5A opener.
Imagine a new technology in teeth whitening that is able to get better results than ever before that is specific to your teeth whitening goals. Summerhill Dental has it, and it's called TheraSmile, a new method of teeth whitening that can change your smile dramatically after just 1 session. If you've stopped whitening your teeth due to messy trays, sensitive teeth, and a need for multiple treatments, come to Summerhill Dental and try TheraSmile today.
Cameron Smith, junior quarterback for Wagner, with a nice-looking touchdown pass to Jeremiah Sherry. There was a Ranger defender in the passing lane, but able to loft it right over his hands for the score. And the Thunderbirds, a good response, finally on the board now. Kickoff from Melandani. Bafinas will take a knee after some hesitation. And Smithson Valley will operate from its own 25-yard line, leading by 2 touchdowns.
That's a good leg. That was a good kick by their kicker, and that was really, really hard for Braden to take a knee in the end zone. Oh, goodness.
Now, keep this number in mind. Smithson Valley up by 14 currently. First half winding down, 3:10 left. Smithson Valley has not allowed a point in the second half this year. So if you're Wagner, paramount not to let the deficit get any larger. Sedlik, what a night he's had for Smithson Valley. 2 touchdown passes, 5 for 5 passing. Here's Lance. And a Thunderbird defender riding his back after a hard-earned 3 yards.
Their running yards have been hard-earned tonight by and large. They didn't need any big holes. Now, they've had some 4 or 5-yard runs, but nothing real big yet. But if they're going to load the box up like they are, then your quarterback's going to have numbers like he has. So that's okay.
Other 12 5A games tonight. Canyon hosting Bernie Champion. MacArthur's at Hayes, and Lehman is at Seguin. Smithson Valley next week, hosting Canyon on a short week on Thursday. Senlick on the keeper and runs into a lot of black and red. Takes a hard hit at the 30-yard line. Due to the charge there, John Rector for Wagner. Third down for the Rangers with 2:15 to go in the half. And now I believe that Wagner and Coach Jason Starron calling for a timeout. And it comes with officially 2:18 to go until halftime. And again, this district can be very high scoring. Of the 8 teams that played last week, 5 put up 40 points or more.
That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points to look at if you're, as defensive coaches, you're looking at these guys all scoring this many points. It's kind of spooky.
Joe, you and I were reminiscing about option offenses, slot T, who's run it over the years in high school football. One name I remembered was Bruce Bush at San Marcos High School, a team that the Rangers faced in the playoffs a few years. And his son, Travis, is now the head coach at Canyon, doing a very good job there.
Yes, he is, and he's not running the slot T.
No, he is not.
Oh, no. Travis is a good one. He's a good coach, and they're doing a good job right now. Of course, he moved over there from Seguin, took that job when Lepsis left, and so he's got them. It seems like he's got them playing really well. Probably get some advice from his dad every now and then.
3rd and 5 out of the Wagner timeout. The Thunderbirds have 2 left. 2:18 left first half. Here's Senlick going to work, looking, hunts away on the slant, and the pass is picked off.
Interference.
There's a flag. This could come back on the interception. Odin Collins. Collins inside the 10, down to the 4, but there is a flag where the pass was thrown, and another flag comes at the end of the play. So a lot to sort out here.
Yeah, he rolled down into man coverage, it looked like, but it looked like maybe a hard cover too. So the corner was riding the receiver all the way down, shoved him, caught the ball. So I think the first flag up here on the 38, 37-yard line is interference. I don't know what the one down there is.
Coach Starron out a few steps towards that huddle at the 10. Remember, Wagner had a turnover negated earlier due to penalty on special teams. Defensive holding, the first flag. And I don't see anything noted about the second flag, which looked to be unsportsmanlike conduct or personal foul.
Yeah, that seemed like that what it would have had to have been.
So the second turnover for Wagner negated due to penalty. And now Coach Starron asking for, I think, explanation on that second flag.
Yeah, the second one, if it's unsportsmanlike or something.
It wouldn't be offsetting.
No.
It'd be tacked on to the end of this penalty, whether that be against Smithson Valley or Wagner.
Right.
But
they just said, we'll just pick it up.
So 2:07 to go. First half, 21-7 Rangers. That would have been Senlick's first interception thrown this season. This is a flip to Kyler Clark. Gets a block on the outside and then got tripped up end over end. Darius Burley, quite the tackle in the open field, brings up second down.
Just can't seem to get the edge. Wagner's got some speed obviously on the edges, and their ends are getting up the field trying to contain things. Of course, Kyler, all these guys thinking leaving their feet's a good idea. After watching him and watching the one from Wagner, I don't know if that's a good idea unless you make it.
Wagner's got athletes on defense, but they've struggled to get stops this year, giving up close to 40 points a game. A year ago, gave up just 21. But again, they have faced some pretty good competition so far, to include Smithson Valley tonight. Lance strung to the outside, Tackle by Nathan Western. Senior's been a playmaker for Wagner's defense this year. And with third down coming up, Coach Starin might take another timeout.
Yeah, they're doing a nice job of stretching it out. They're getting just enough penetration where the backs on their zone schemes, they're on Smithson Valley, they're not able to get to the edge, and they just running side to side. And with their speed defensively, they're getting to them.
And he does, in fact, take his second timeout with 1:16 to go here in the first half. Do note that Smithson Valley, dating back to 2020, has won 17 straight when leading at halftime. What that tells me, Joe, one, the defense plays very well protecting a lead, and two, the offense knows how to do the same. Don't give the ball away, be able to chew up clock, run the ball effectively. All of that has worked over the past 2+ years.
Well, it all ties into what Coach Hill stresses. I mean, don't beat yourself. So if you get up on them, continue to play solid football. Don't have silly penalties. Don't do things that are going to hurt you. Turnovers offensively or big plays defensively. That's all Smithson Valley is really about.
Rangers head coach Larry Hill in season 30, 276 wins. How many of those are credited, though, to Joe Muchagimba?
0. I'm just glad I had a job.
Out of the timeout, third down and 11 from the 40. Sedlik going to run it and is stopped well short of the first down. On the tackle there for the Thunderbirds, see Azario Brooks. And Smithson Valley will punt with the clock winding inside of a minute. Wagner has now used all 3 timeouts, so they won't get the ball back until there's about maybe 24 seconds to go in the half.
Yeah, that's case in point what you were just talking about. Okay, a lot of people, it's third and whatever, and they're up, so we're going to try to make something happen right here before the half. And let's just say the defense picks it and goes, and it's 21-14, and you got a mess on your hands. Don't get greedy. You're up 14. You get the ball. Do they get the ball coming out? I forget.
Wagner will.
Wagner gets the ball coming out. So momentum, they got the ball coming out second half. You never know what will happen. So little things like that make a big difference. Punt them back, maybe hold them, see what they want to do with it. Maybe they'll take a chance and make a mistake, and then you can turn it on them.
These two programs talked about all the times they have faced each other, meeting for the 15th time tonight. Smithson Valley leads the all-time series 12 games to 2, and these two met in last year's district opener, won by the Rangers 42-14.
Those two programs know each other pretty well.
Out of the timeout, Amaya will punt it. And back deep for the Thunderbirds. Looks like E.J. Bell back to return from his own 10 with 29 seconds to go. Smithson Valley protecting a 2-touchdown lead. Punt from Amaya. Low line drive. I wonder if it was tipped. Saw a rusher coming in for the Thunderbirds, and I think that was Greg Williams and may have gotten a hand on it.
Came from the top, came from Smithson Valley's sideline. Looked like.
But it does take a favorable roll to the 31 with 18 seconds to go and no timeouts for an option-based offense. One that doesn't kick field goals. It's going to be really hard for Wagner to produce points in this situation.
This is where they got a chance to get themselves in trouble. Now, they can make a big play and score right here. There's no question. They practice just like the other group does, but their throwing isn't their forte, so the quarterback draw schemed up.
Up the middle, Smith stumbling to the 46. Stops the clock to move the chains with 12 seconds left.
Design draw, quarterback run.
The spike, 10 seconds to go.
If you turn this game on late, you might miss most of it because I think it's probably not even 8 o'clock yet, and we're at halftime.
I think some people are still parking for this game right now. You're right, Joe. With Wagner's offense and the way things go, games here typically don't last very long.
No.
Game kicked off less than an hour ago, and here we are, 10 seconds away from halftime.
Well, they're running the ball. Smithson Valley runs the ball and don't have an incomplete pass yet, so the clock hasn't stopped. So, pretty impressive.
Flag is in. Smith is gang tackled for a sack. Goss, Maynard there. And the Rangers call for offside zone, negates a sack, and that will extend this half. You know, that overtime game here 2 years ago, penalties told quite the story. Wagner was able to overcome 18 flags and 130 yards worth of penalties to win that game.
Yeah, that was not one of Smithson Valley's prettier games that they've played.
Pitch. This is Wanye Taylor inside the 40, and that will wind down the first half. Smithson Valley, big play offense. Chase Sedlick, 2 touchdown passes. Braden Mafias, a touchdown run. And if you're Larry Hill and Smithson Valley, have to be pleased with the first 24 minutes of 12 5A play.
Yeah, I think he's. I'm not going to say he's really happy with it, but he's pleased with the scoreboard. They've done enough right to be up 21-7, and they'll try to correct what they did wrong and come out here and finish this thing off.
We've hit halftime from Rutledge Stadium here in Converse. At the end of the first half, Smithson Valley 21, Wagner 7 on the Rangers Network. District 12 5A opener ready to start the second half. Smithson Valley on top of Wagner 21-7. Alongside Joe Muchagimpa, I'm Brant Freeman. Glad to have you with us here on the Rangers Network. Smithson Valley playing for its second straight win and for a 1-0 start to district play. And again, Joe, the big story in the first half for the Rangers, big plays on offense.
Yeah, they did. And everything running through the quarterback right now, all the big plays are coming out of his hand, out to receivers. So see if they can continue that this half, or if they can get a little more on track running the football.
Chase Sedlick, 5 of 5 passing, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Rangers in the first half. And the opening kickoff from Amaya well into the end zone. And we start the third quarter with Wagner on possession here in Converse. Thunderbirds were down 21-0. Got a late first half touchdown, so maybe a little bit of momentum for them as they start this third quarter.
Yeah, you're probably feeling pretty good right now. Like you said, they closed out the first half with the touchdown, and coming back with the possession here, and they score again. You can figure the score out on your own, but this is kind of a big drive for them right here, I think.
Wagner with 98 yards rushing in the first half. This option-based offense averaged about 4.5 yards a carry. And this first play doesn't yield a whole lot. That's Smith, the quarterback, on the keeper for 3.
That was a good job by Jackson Miner. It looked like he stemmed over a man before the ball was snapped. When they snapped it, he was sitting there waiting for the play.
Again, Smithson Valley opening up 12-5A play tonight. On a short week next week, hosting Canyon on Thursday, and then the bye week. 8-team district, 7-game district schedule. Smith, the quarterback again. That'll bring up third down and short with the third quarter just underway.
Yeah, you're not going to see anything different out of Wagner. They may feature a different player or two here or there, but they're going to run what they run. They're not going to get too tricky, I don't think.
Thunderbirds, record of 1-2. Win last week, though, came over San Marcos at overtime. Losses to good programs, Liberty Hill, Dripping Springs. Battle-tested team entering 12-5A play, trying to pick up a third down and short. Smith, the quarterback, calling his number again, and that should be good enough for a first down. And our head official agrees. That'll move the chains, so 3 plays on that first series for Wagner, all runs by the quarterback.
Smithson Valley's sitting with 2 defensive tackles that are outside the guard, so there's a little bubble in the middle right there, but they're inviting that run and then trying to shut that down and keep the ball off the perimeter, I think.
Joe, you were describing earlier whenever you would coach against this defense, at times the assistant coaches would serve as the scout team quarterback because it's so intricate to run this type of offense. If you have a player on your roster not used to it, use a coach in their place. What is the quarterback's responsibility when running this offense?
Well, he's checking the play from one side to the other. You know, he's looking to see where the defensive linemen are. He's counting numbers in the box. Sometimes, of course, they don't get very spread out, so there's typically 10 in the box for them. But there's a lot on his shoulders as to what they run and which direction they run it.
Pitch to the outside. Cherry stumbles out at the 40-yard line, forced out by Duffy.
Because he really, like most of the time, he doesn't even know who's going to be carrying the football on any given play. You know, he's going to take a little step and stick the ball in the fullback's belly, and his eyes are on the defensive lineman. If the defensive lineman closes on the fullback, he pulls it, and then he takes it out to the next man. The next man may make him pitch it, or he may allow him to keep it. So you just never know who's going to get the football. It's all based on the defense.
And for the defense, it's all about discipline, facing an offense like this.
No question. And you got to be good tacklers because a lot of them are one-on-one.
First possession, third quarter. Smith on the dive back handoff. Stopped short of the first down. Looks like Gavin Woods and Dylan Goss on the stop. And does Jason Starr roll the dice here?
Yeah, their punt team is not going to come on the field, I don't believe, tonight unless they're way deep in their end zone, in their end of the field.
Well, this offense built for short yardage situations. They have 1 4th down conversion already in the game. 4th short, Smith, the quarterback, he's got it. First down, Wagner.
He's just following the fullback up, riding the fullback. Fullback's leading like a lead blocker for him. He sticks his nose up in there behind him. They pick up 2 or 3, and that's all they need.
8:40 to go, third quarter, 21-7, Rangers on top, jumping out to a 21-0 lead. But Wagner, an important drive here, chance to maybe make this a one-possession game, but they're going to have to do so against a Ranger defense which has not given up a second-half point this season. Dive back play off that right side. This Navy, Army, Air Force style of offense for Wagner. Got to pick up 3 yards to bring up second down.
Yeah, you need a big play defensive. You need a play for a loss or tackle for a loss or a no gain or something. Get them a little more off schedule. 3-4 pop. That they're right on schedule is what they want to be.
Only touchdown for Wagner did come through the air. Smith hooking up with Sherry for 14 yards. Back in that second quarter. This drive has already consumed more than 4 minutes. It's only reached midfield. Smith is tackled from behind by McLean Garrett. Another third down coming up. So again, Joe, we're seeing on this possession by Wagner 3 yards, 4, 6, 3, just chunk.
Yeah, and they're perfectly fine with that. The first half they had a drive, the drive where DeHoyas picked it off, where this is what they were doing, and they got in the 2nd and 7, and they threw the football and it got picked. They need to continue doing what they're doing, in my opinion, to be successful.
Big hole, Sherry off the left side. Gavin Woods with a tackle along with Weston Ross. First down, Wagner down to the Ranger 35-yard line.
You get 3 or 4, then there's an 8. And 3 or 4, then you just got to keep playing on. You can't get frustrated as a defense. You just got to know this is their style, and someone's going to have to make a play, and then we'll stop them. So it can get frustrating.
Wagner opened the season with 2 games on the road. This is their second straight at home, and again won a wild game here last week over San Marcos as that run play goes for 2. 42-41. Wagner over San Marcos in overtime.
It's a good job on first down here. See if they can back it up with another one.
Cameron Smith is going to pitch this. Sherry to his right and got cut down on the outside by DeHoyas at the 30-yard line. Will bring up 3rd down and 5. And again, David DeHoyas, big first half for him. You heard Joe reference the pick. He had it, 6th of his career.
They tried to get him in position to be a playmaker, and it was wise on their part.
13th play of this drive coming up. The first 12 plays, all runs. This is a run as well. To the outside, and a big tackle short of the first down is Wagner. DeHoyas throwing his shoulder into Wanye Taylor, but it remains 4-down territory.
4th and 2 sitting again. So we're 4th and 1. They picked it up. Let's see where they go here. They've been staying up inside on their 4th and short stuff.
Taylor, a big part of the game plan for Wagner last week. Just 3 carries so far tonight. Dive back, Sherry, first down, Wagner. It's incredible, Joe. It felt like halftime just ended. 7 minutes already off the clock here in the third quarter.
The clock doesn't stop. The clock does not stop unless there's a penalty or. And there's some white jerseys, blue shirts on the other sideline. They're getting a little bit antsy because the possessions are getting fewer and fewer and fewer as the time runs.
That's a good point. As a timeout is called, and I think by Wagner it is their first. This style of play that Wagner runs, this slot T triple option offense, will greatly shorten the game. And so for the opposing offenses, they have to maximize the possessions because you may only have, in a 48-minute game, 6 or 7. That's it.
Well, they have 4. They had 5 possessions the first half, and that's Smithson Valley, and that's including the one at the end of the half that really wasn't much time on it. And they haven't had one yet in the second half. So that's really 4 possessions they've had, and we're over 2.5 quarters through the ball game. So you got to produce when you have the ball because you never know when or if you'll get it back.
You heard Joe use the word produce, and this school has produced a lot of talent athletes over the years in all sports. Jordan Clarkson played basketball at Wagner, was the NBA Sixth Man of the Year 2 years ago with Utah, still playing for the Jazz. Andre Roberson played at Wagner, good career with Oklahoma City and the Thunder. A couple of NFL players, Derek Kindred, Spencer Buford, who was a 4th-round pick in 2021, so a recent Wagner grad, and Kiana Williams, women's basketball player, played at Wagner, a national champion with Stanford and currently in the WNBA. Out of the timeout, first down, Thunderbirds nearing the red zone. Dive back right up the guts. Able to churn out 5 more yards. Clockwork-like drive here for Wagner. Sherry, another carry.
Yeah, this is right up their alley. This is exactly what they're wanting coming out right now. Good sustained drive. If they can knock it in, close it within 7 points.
15th play of the drive coming up now. Dive back action. Darting to the 13-yard line. Sherry talked about the amount of plays, and for Sherry, that is 10 carries on this drive alone.
If you're going to beat teams like this, number one, you got to shut the fullback down.
So the question right now I have: will Smithson Valley see the ball in the third quarter? Under 4 minutes to go. 3rd down. Dive back again, and short of the first down will bring up yet another 4th down. 2 conversions already on this drive for Wagner.
I don't know what they need to stop them here, obviously, but if they can get a procedure or something on them, back them up, that'll tend to throw teams like this way off schedule. 4th and 1 is not off schedule for them.
That Ranger offense waiting patiently on the sideline for their chance.
They're going to have to warm up again on the sideline.
Play clock, 10 seconds for Cameron Smith and Wagner. 4th down. Up the middle, there's a pile right at the sticks, just at the 11-yard line. This will depend on the spot.
Side judge on this side gave it to him. Looks like to me.
Yeah, first down, Wagner. No play in the drive has gone longer than 8 yards. There is a track surrounding the stadium. You might see offensive players start to get a few laps in.
That's what I'm saying. It's been a long time since they've been on the field.
8.5 minutes off the clock on the drive. First down, not quite goal to go. Smith, maybe a broken play there, and got tackled to the outside by Goss. He'll lose a yard.
So that's what you're looking for. That'll throw them off a little bit.
But that's the key, isn't it, Joe, in an offense like this? Not that they are afraid to run the ball on 3rd and long, but you've got to win 1st and 2nd down if you're the defense.
You got to get them. You got to get them in some type of 3rd and more than, you got to get them in 3rd and long. And then if it's 4th down, it's got to be more than 4th and 3 to get them for running. They may run a little bootleg here. There it is, same one they scored on earlier.
Smith looking, rolling, dumps it off inside the 10. And a short gain there for Wagner. Cherry on the catch will bring up 3rd down. Again, not quite goal to go. And this drive has consumed more than 10 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, that's a little the same action that they scored on earlier, but backside drag didn't come across. I don't know if that was a bad formation or if they just didn't look for it. But there was only 2 people over there, and they hit the fullback in the flat.
This play coming up is the 20th of the drive. And what is likely 4-down territory again. 3rd down, 7 to go. Smith pressured and taken down. Got pressure from that backside, and coming up, Doug Zakowski on the sack will bring up 4th down and 12 with a minute to go in the 3rd.
So this play right here can swing the game right now because Wagner's had a really tremendous drive. And if they come out of this with nothing, their kid's going to come over with their daubers down because it's been a very impressive drive. And if they score, then we got quite a battle on our hands.
Again, Wagner, no field goal attempts in 4 years. Why change things now? Smith, quick drop, steps up, brought down. Gavin Woods with a sack, forcing a turnover on downs. A 22-play drive eats up almost the entire 3rd quarter clock, with the Thunderbirds left with no points.
Yeah, that's tough to swallow as an offensive unit. But again, Smithson Valley, they stayed in the saddle. They kept on just played, didn't get flustered. They just kept and had an opportunity to make a couple plays, and they made them really when they needed to and kept them out of the end zone.
If you think in terms of real time, it's been almost an hour since the offense has been on the field. The halftime break, that long drive. And the offense back out there now. 1st, 2nd half possession with 35 seconds to go in the 3rd. Doug Lance off the right side will turn out a couple in what could be the first and only play the Rangers run of the quarter.
They might as well let it run.
Well, if you were in line at the concessions for popcorn, you may have missed the 3rd quarter. Over in a flash, a 22-play drive for Wagner, no points, and the Rangers have the football to start the 4th quarter, on top by 2 touchdowns, 21-7 on the Rangers Network.
Fisher's Neighborhood Market is the only stop you need before and after game time. Get everything you need, plus a whole lot of things, well, you just want. Fisher's Neighborhood Market. Food, fuel, fun.
You're spending more time at home now than ever, so why take chances with your comfort? That's why you need Air Clinic. Our comfort advisors ensure your home is the perfect temperature year-round. Let us put on a comfort clinic for you. Feel Air Clinic quality today.
Ready to start the fourth quarter. 21-7 Ranger lead. Smithson Valley's second play on the entire half is called off. This will be a false start against Smithson Valley. So again, if you're just catching up, Wagner had the ball to start the third quarter, marched all the way inside the 10 on a 22-play drive, but the final two plays, both sacks, because Smithson Valley won first and second down, forcing Wagner into passing situations, and the pass protection wasn't there.
Their pass protection is play action bootleg stuff. So when they're in a down that doesn't favor play action, they have to throw it. Just doesn't hold up very well, and they're not as good at it as they are running the option, and that's okay. That's just not what they do.
After the flag, the first Smithson Valley has been called for tonight. Sidlick taking a shot deep and trying to adjust back to the ball was Weston Ross. Pass incomplete. It'll bring up third down and long. That is the first incomplete pass thrown by Sidlick tonight.
It's the first pass he's thrown in the second half.
Just the sixth of the game. This could be a minor victory for Wagner. You don't score in that long drive, but if the defense gets a quick 3-and-out, chance for the offense to take over with a relative short field.
That's right. And you got the defense on the other sideline just came off playing 21 plays of defense.
Sidlick back to pass, deep shot again, and this catch contested, incomplete. Looking for Ross, well defended in front of that Rangers sideline by Wagner's secondary. And the Rangers' first second half possession ends at a 3-and-out.
Yeah, that's not really what you want to see when you come off giving up a 20-play drive by your defense. You like to keep them on the sideline a little bit longer, give them a little more time to recuperate.
William Gaddis back to return the punt. Amaya's third punt tonight. That's going to die and take a Wagner bounce inside the 45 with the 43-yard line. Just 20 seconds gone by in the fourth quarter. Smithson Valley on top by 2 touchdowns. So Wagner's first second half possession goes 11 and a half minutes. Smithson Valley's about 50 seconds.
Yeah, they're just having a difficult time running the football right now. And same goes for Wagner. They played good first down defense. Defend the pass second down. They got them in third and long. They're throwing the ball, so you kind of know what everybody's doing right now. So that was in their favor, that series.
First play of the drive. Handoff. Sherry off the right side. Got cut down by Goss. Also there for Smithson Valley, Noah Herring will bring up second down and short.
It was a nice job on the backside playing that little inside reverse.
23 carries on the night for Jeremiah Sherry. Coming off a good game against San Marcos, went over 100 yards, scored twice. Has a touchdown as well in this game. A stingy Ranger defense still. No second half points given up this year. Pitch to Michael Ford. Herring is there along with Jackson Duffy. Great pursuit by Smithson Valley's defense. Forces a 3 and long. Third and long.
This is where you want to have them. Now they may run the veer, run the option and pick it up, but this is where you want to have them. Got a chance for a big sack, maybe knock the ball out of the quarterback, maybe a pick.
We saw how Wagner struggled in third and long in the last possession. They have to make it to the Ranger 32 for a first down. In what is 4 down territory, Smith throws, completes. Wagner Taylor that will make fourth down more manageable, but still think here, Joe, it's probably passing down distance.
You know, you would think so. You know, they may guess against the defense. Say, well, they think we're going to throw it, so let's run it. I mean, it's truly a guessing game. I'm sure there's some tendencies, some percentages that both sides are playing right now. And Cameron did a good job, Smith, on sitting in and making that completion.
Smithson Valley trying to force its second straight turnover on downs. Play clock down to 7. Down to 3. Smith's got to hurry. Back to pass. Here's the pressure. Smith
going down.
Taking down Jackson Maynard with the sack. Back at the 44-yard line. Back-to-back turnovers on downs forced by Larry Hill's defense.
Big series. It kind of speaks for itself. You can look at it and see how big that was. Offense going 3 and out and them coming out and holding. Now it's a relatively short field for Smithson Valley's offense.
So again, this is the first night of District 12 5A play in what is the 4th week of the high school football season. And there's always a story in high school football, things you've never seen before. That's certainly the case for one game not too far from us as Sindelic hands to Lance stacked up. He'll lose a couple of yards to bring up second down and long. Saw this on social media during halftime. A game between Fredericksburg and Wimberley, in Wimberley, and there was a shortage of referees. The game was in a delay and none were available. So the two teams agreed to this, and that this being using volunteers to act as referees to get the game in. So, Joe, you're a former coach. Could you imagine going to the stands or somebody locally asking them to officiate a game?
You know, it's hard enough on the guys down there that are getting paid, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, I would like to think, I don't even know if that's a district ball game. I'd like to hope that's not a district ball game. I don't know.
Lance on the carry makes a 3rd and long. Now, if you're an actual official, everything you've always dreamed of is telling fans, if you think it's so easy, you do it.
Come on.
Now it's reality.
Yeah. And coaches, they're going to holler at them, the volunteers, too. So.
Coming up, 8 minutes to go, 4th quarter. This is just the second offensive possession for the Rangers in the half. Nursing a 21-7 lead. Sendlick, good play design. Mason Burks, the tight end on the leak out to the 40-yard line. You see that 1/1000 block, then release. The bootleg there from Sendlick. Good design, first down, Smithson Valley.
Yeah, it's the first time they've shown it tonight. He kind of kept that in his pocket for an important time, and that was a big call and a big play.
Birch has been a good situational pass-catching tight end in the offense. First catch tonight. And Smithson Valley can bleed some more clock with his 2-touchdown lead. Sidlick twisted to the 40-yard line. And the clock will continue to run inside of 7 minutes before the next snap.
Wagner's defensive line is giving them a little bit of trouble tonight. They've got some really good football players up front on Wagner.
Next week, Wagner will be on the road to face Lehman.
I say they're pretty good because they're giving them trouble, and I know Smithson Valley's line is pretty dang good. So they're all juniors. Every one of them's a junior.
For Wagner defense, which had given up 35-plus the first 3 games of the year, they've held their own tonight. Here's Sedelic up the middle, and Sedelic up that right hash mark. This will lead to a timeout from Wagner to stop the clock with 6:28 to go. I thought they were. The whistles blew, but our head official winds his arms. Clock will continue to move.
It's a fast half right here because Smithson Valley's in no hurry right now. Clock's just running.
Now, Maya has quite the leg on him, but I would imagine this is probably full down territory as well for Smithson Valley. Third down, quick snap. Doug Lance up the middle, fighting, and a first down inside the 30. Lance, a reliable run. Some pushing and shoving afterwards. He and Odin Collins getting into it. And the Rangers will move the sticks, and that more clock off the fourth quarter. Clock 5:40 left and leading 21-7.
Yeah, the clock is not a friend of Wagner right now because they haven't quite been able to show that they can break the big play, and there probably won't be enough time for them to drive it. 22 plays from 2 drives or however many they need.
Just back-breaking for Wagner to have not scored on that 22-play drive to start the third quarter. And Sidlick is forced to call a timeout. Play clock winding down, 5:13 left in the game at a 21-7 Smithson Valley lead over Wagner. So again, the Thunderbirds have done this dance before, going from 6A to 5A, and there was a really rough patch for them. 5-year window, 2013 through 17, 5 seasons it is, 50 games played and lost 37 of them, going 4-27 in district. But then they go down to 5A, and in 2 years, they play 30 games and go 26-4, going to the state semis both seasons. That was all under the watch of Charles Bruce. His offensive coordinator for those teams, Jason Starren. Now the head coach for Wagner, this is second season.
Yeah, there was a little bit different level of competition when they stepped down to 5A in Region 4. They went from playing Judson and Clemens and Steele and Smithson Valley and some of those folks, and they rolled into SISD schools, which is one I graduated from, and those aren't quite as competitive as the district that they came out of.
Out of the timeout, Lance, heavy dose of Doug Lance, the junior. The ball comes out. Wagner gets a turnover. Nathan Western recovers a fumble. Believe it was forced by Aiden Scott. Now remember, Wagner had 2 turnovers early in the game, both called back due to penalty. This one stands, and maybe a spark with 5:07 left. That just the 3rd turnover of the year for Smithson Valley's offense.
Well, you certainly, during that timeout, that was addressed over on Smithson Valley's sideline, and unfortunately they ripped it out of there. Guy did a nice job of just grabbing it on, tackling the football.
But now if you're Wagner, that slow, methodical option offense, you only have 5:07 left and 2 timeouts, down 2 scores. You may have to get creative.
They're going to have to take some chances, that's right.
Smith throws in that zone defense and a catch across the 40-yard line. That's Michael Ford, good for 7 yards. Fourth quarter clock down to 4:45.
Same set, possibly doing the same thing this way.
Smith looking left, steps up, takes a hit, taken down yet again. Jackson Maynard's had a good night for Smithson Valley. That'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, he's a good young football player also. He played a bunch as a sophomore, and then he's, had a year of experience under his belt coming in as a junior, and he's had a pretty good year this year so far for him.
The numbers for Maynard as a sophomore last year, over 40 tackles, 10 for loss, 5 sacks. And Smithson Valley's front 7 this year with experienced guys like Maynard has been very impressive. Pass to the left side, first down and more. Michael Ford got taken down to the 45-yard line. It's slow to get up, but a good passing play there for the Thunderbirds with 3:57 left.
It's a great open field tackle by David DeHoyas.
And an official's timeout here. This is not a charged team timeout. Again, Smithson Valley will host Canyon on Thursday in their first home 12-5A game. And then the Rangers on a bye week. You look at the final 5 weeks of the regular season. Home games against Lehman, Champion, and Seguin. And road games against MacArthur and Hayes. And this their first year in District 12-5A. Out of the administrative timeout, here's Smith looking, throwing, and that one nearly picked by Ross. You see that Smith had one read there, Joe, and there was a lot of white shirts around the read.
Yeah, they had two guys out, and he just eyeballing who he's throwing it to. They're trying to keep as many bodies in protection as they can.
Going for Wagner Taylor. On first down, Cherry up the middle. And I believe that to be the first run of this possession. As Smithson Valley, because of the game situation, has now made Wagner uncomfortable with what it wants to do on offense.
Yeah, and that's a good call by Wagner because, you get to Smithson Valley thinking they're just going to throw the football, and they're still really good at running the ball. And they still have 2 downs to get it. So
here's a pitch. This is Taylor with a burst inside the 30. Wagner Taylor taken down inside the 20-yard line to the 18 at a gain of 23. But the clock will keep ticking. Inside of 3 minutes left. A must-score drive here for Wagner, trying to keep the game within reach. Smith on first down, runs the option, keeps it himself, and he takes it down to the 10. And this could set up second down and short, not quite goal to go.
It looked a little bit early on the left side of the line there, but that might have been the only one that saw it.
Boy, again, that Smithson Valley defense has been on the field for a really long time in this second half.
Yeah, they need to, if they give up a score right here, they need to make it on. They need to let them pick up the first down, not let them, and then hold them a couple more plays, get some more clock run off.
Here's Smith, looks, throws, end zone, tipped and caught. Wagner Taylor, what a catch for the touchdown.
Yeah, it looked like that ball was knocked away, tipped up, and came right down in his hands, it looked like.
Wagner Taylor, big game last week against San Marcos. Second touchdown catch of the year. And the first time the Rangers have given up a second half score. Makes this now a one-possession game. Melandani, the point after, hits the upright, and it's no good. 2:02 left, don't go anywhere. Smithson Valley 21, Wagner 13. On the Rangers Network, we're back after this.
Fisher's Neighborhood Market is the only stop you need before and after game time. Get everything you need, plus a whole lot of things, well, you just want. Fisher's Neighborhood Market. Food, fuel, fun.
Hey, Principal Wall, how have you been?
Really good, except for this.
Well, we specialize in wart and mold removal and acne treatment and skin allergy testing and skin cancer screenings, but I've never seen anything like this before. Hey, Dr. Miller, come check this out.
What? What? Is it getting worse?
Blue coloring, raised, multiplying like crazy. Do you know what it is? I haven't got a clue.
This man has SV Rangeritis. Yes.
Wagner going for the onside kick after the touchdown, and the ball will bounce out of bounds. There is a flag. I think this will go against Wagner, and Joe and I were talking during the timeout. Wagner has been a team that's pulled off onside kicks this season, albeit unexpected. That one, Smithson Valley was expecting. but Wagner does not get the ball back, and the flag will go against the Thunderbirds with 2:02 left, down to 2 timeouts. 1 first down should ice the game for Smithson Valley.
Yeah, they're always trying to reduce the number of possessions their opponent gets. So, I mean, I think Liberty Hill in the second quarter that they scored, and then just out of the blues they came out and onside kicked. I don't remember. I think they might have got it against Liberty Hill, and they pulled it off against Drip coming out of the half. So they're kind of risky, but if it works, it works.
Last Smithson Valley possession did end in a turnover, opening the door for Wagner. And they were able to capitalize on the touchdown drive, and Bafidus on the run. I think this will be an illegal formation against Smithson Valley or shift. This play's going to come back as Bafidus goes out of bounds. I think 2 men were in motion. Not a game that has seen a lot of penalties. The few we have seen, though, have been pretty big. And there's the illegal formation and call against Smithson Valley. Of course, 2 penalties against Wagner wiped out would-be turnovers. This one wipes out a would-be first down for Bafidus.
You take a minute 55 on the clock, and each team still has 2 timeouts. So there's a lot of football left out here on this Friday night here.
A game that has moved along very quickly. Game kicked off 2 hours ago, and here we are. 1:55 left in game time in the fourth quarter. 1st and 15, and there's movement again. This will make it first down and 20. Again, Wagner was able to engineer a touchdown drive, going to the air, unconventional way for Wagner to score, but credit Cameron Smith, engineered a good drive, touchdown pass to Wanye Taylor. Arguably, though, a couple of balls he threw that could have been picked off on that drive, but Wagner able to cut it down to a 1-possession game. 1st and 20. This is Lance stumbling in the backfield. See Thunderbirds ripping for the football as he's tackled by John Rector, and the Thunderbirds will spin their second timeout.
I guess they didn't call it. Now they're calling. Now they're stopping the clock, starting it. Not sure what's going on.
Yeah, he did call for it, did head coach, Jason Starren. And they'll put some time back on the clock here. Minute 42 to go, 21-13. Smithson Valley on top. So, Joe, so many new teams in the district in terms of who Smithson Valley has played before. But you look at Wagner and the Rangers both figure to be in the playoff discussion. Buchanan has played well. Hayes has played well. Bernie Champion has some athletes over there. When you saw realignment, what were your initial impressions of the makeup of the district?
Well, my initial impressions was they're not in Smithson Valley. I'm speaking from them. They're not. We're not playing Judson. We're not playing Steele. We're not playing Clemens. We're not playing the Bromfields. We're not playing whoever else. And you look at it and go, oh, no, okay, we got to play Wagner. We've been there, done that before. We got Canyon there that's playing. Coach Bush has them going over there. You got Bernie Champion that has a winning tradition. They've won plenty of games over there, and I'm leaving somebody else out. But you got Lehman, you got Seguin, you got MacArthur, Mac coming down. I don't know what they're going to be like, but coming down from 6A. So, the new faces, I guess. It's a different classification, but it's not too far down enrollment wise, and it's good. It's still really, really good football, and just a few less kids on the sideline, maybe.
Out of the timeout, Wagner's offsides here as De Hoyos takes the handoff off that left side. This will be wiped out, and the flag will mark it second down and 12. And The last time Smithson Valley wasn't playing at the highest classification was back in 2011. Of course, back then it was 5A, but that was before 6A became a thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. You know, like I said, by and large, what you've got is you just don't have as many numbers. There's the talent level is still
there.
It's still there.
Mm-hmm.
It's still there. I mean, so many of these teams, your Wagners, your Smithson Valleys, your Hayes, they're playing 6A teams in non-district. They don't care if you're 6A, and a lot of them really won't play down. They don't want to play a 4A or someone small. They want to play up and play with the big boys. So.
And the Rangers, who look at their non-district schedule, all made up of 6A teams, as Lance takes it to the original line of scrimmage, and Wagner will spend its third and final timeout. Yeah, the Rangers' non-district schedule, playing San Antonio Reagan, Harker Heights, East Central, all 6A programs.
All 6A, all playoff teams last year. And then they'll never back down from that. That's what they want to play. They feel like the better teams you play in your non-district, the better off you'll be down the road if you can get through it healthy. That's good, because it does you no good to go in non-district and play some teams that you shouldn't be playing, and you beat them up or something, and you kind of come into district with the false sense of security.
Smithson Valley coming off a 9-3 finish from a year ago. They won their first 7 games. Ran into a really tough schedule down the stretch. Teams like Steele and Judson giving them all they could handle. Second-round playoff team last year. Rangers knocked off Madison in the opening round. Then ran into a tremendous program, Austin Bowie, in their second-round playoff loss. Really competitive game in San Marcos. And now they've gone from 6A to 5A and trying to win their 12-5A opener tonight. And they are a minute 20 away from doing that. And Wagner now out of timeouts. Thunderbirds low to the box. It's a reverse. Bafidis off that left side. And he got tripped up short of the 40 with a minute 12 left. So Wagner probably won't get the ball until there's about 30 seconds to go.
It'd be somewhere between you're probably just about spot on. Depends on how the punt goes here.
I imagine Larry Hill will let the clock wind down to 1, call a timeout, and then punt the ball away. So that timeout will come with approximately 31 seconds to go in the game. And so now you're forcing that Wagner offense to go, let's say, 80-ish yards with no timeouts and maybe about 26 seconds.
They're not going to be able to run the football. They're going to have to throw it, which plays into your hand a little bit. I say that. Of course, that last drive, they went down, marched down the field throwing the ball. But when they needed it, got down on Smithson Valley's end, they went back to running it, and then, of course, they threw the fade to the corner of the end zone.
And what that tells me, too, Joe, is this upcoming punt, if you're Wagner, you're probably selling out, trying to get a block to get a short field.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure they didn't get a hand on one earlier, as you said. I don't know that, what's his name, Greg Williams didn't get a hand on one. So, and he's number 88. He's going to be at the top. He's going to be on Smithson Valley's sideline, so they want to keep an eye on him.
There is a returner back for Wagner. It's William Gaddis. Amaya's got a good leg. He needs a quick punt here. Here's the rush. Line drive punt. Gaddis will let it go inside the 5. What a punt there by Amaya. And the Rangers hover the ball with 22 seconds to go. Wagner is tasked having to go 96 yards.
It won't be easy. It won't be easy. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it won't be easy for them.
make it 97. Ball marked at the 3. And Joe, if you're Smithson Valley's defense, at what point do you put your safeties and secondary in umbrella coverage way off the line?
Well, you got a safety down here pretty far off that's fixing to pick this off. So
that's De Hoyos off his hands, incomplete, looking for Ethan Riley, the receiver, second down.
I mean, they don't have multiple receivers. I mean, they got one receiver here or two receivers there, so there's no sense in putting them all, putting everybody back there. Because I could still drop it down to the fullback or run, veer and pick up 30, 40 yards and, have a little bit to go. So they'll probably be soft to the Smithson Valley's field this way. I mean, there's no receivers down here, so if I was this middle safety, I'd scoot over a little bit.
18 seconds left. Smith throws. That one's picked.
6, maybe.
Inside the 10, Duffy. And that will ice the game. Jackson Duffy. A pair of picks a year ago as a sophomore, his first as a junior. And Smithson Valley's second turnover tonight will end this 12-5A game as the Rangers open district play 1-0.
Yeah, it's a big play. You got them doing something that's not their strength, and that's what you always try to do in offense is take away their strength, and got them in a situation where they had to throw the football.
So for the Rangers offensively, a lot of flash in the first half, not really any in the second. Wagner taking them out of the rhythm with their long, drawn-out drives, but able to get the job done. Wagner is out of timeouts, 12 seconds to go, and this is a run for Lance off that left side to the 5-yard line, and the final seconds tick away. So Smithson Valley in a new 12-5A districts. Open district play, 1-0 with a win over Wagner. And for Smithson Valley, their 13th win in the series in 15 meetings against the Thunderbirds, and a solid overall performance for Larry Hill's program.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good performance. They got challenged. They got jumped out to a pretty good lead, and Wagner came back and fought them real tough in the second half, and they had to dig in a little bit, and it was good for them. It was good for them to have to do that. So, good job by Wagner. They played a good ball game, and see how things play out the rest of the year.
Well, Joe, it's been fun.
Thank you, Brent. I always enjoy working with you. You're good. You're good at what you do.
Likewise. So that's going to wrap up our coverage here from Rutledge Stadium. Smithson Valley improving to 3-1 of the season as they knock off Wagner 21-13 here in Converse, Texas. On behalf of our entire WIC Productions crew and the Rangers Network, for Joe Muchagemba, I'm Brian Freeman saying good night. Smithson Valley a winner over Wagner 21-13.